Okay, we're back with our chapter 11 test. And again, this is focusing on a grammar issue, a grammar question. Again, you may understand the grammar perfectly. And this is a question on the present progressive and the present perfect tense. In this question, they mix both tenses, and you may understand how to conjugate them and identify them, but the question could be a little confusing, and that is why I am making this presentation, okay? Um, there's going to be a conversation between two students, and we have to decide, and we're going to fill in the blank with either the present progressive form of the verb or the present perfect form of the verb. Uh, and we're going to be giving a word bank of various verbs. So first you have to decide within this conversation, which verb do I use? Okay. Once you decide which verb is the best one to use, then you have to say, well, what tense do I conjugate it into? So there's quite a few steps here. Uh, it's ultimately very easy, but you just have to be careful and think it through. There's a word bank of 4 or 5 verbs, and you have to choose. You can only use the verb once. So um, you want to use the best verb in each case. So let's take a look. So here we go. We have a conversation between Bob and Anna. So read through the conversation, get the idea of it, and then we have to figure out which verb are we going to use and then what tense are we going to use it in. So again, Bob and Anna are having a conversation using the verbs below. Fill in the blanks with the correct verb. Once you have chosen the correct verb, conjugate it either into the present progressive tense with the auxiliary verb estar. We use estar with the present progressive, right? And the present progressive tense um, consists of what? Conjugating the verb estar in the present tense and then giving the present participle. You need to know how to form that. That is the ing or the ing form of the verb. And so if we're going to use the present progressive, or we may want to use the present perfect tense, that's going to be using the verb haber. So you conjugate it in the present tense. That's your auxiliary verb. And then the past participle of the verb. And you should know how to form these. Okay, so let's take a look at the verbs. Tener, to have, decir, to say, pasar, to pass, hacer, to do or make, and estudiar. So let's take a look. Ana starts the conversation and she says, El piso de tu cuarto está sucio. So the floor in your room is dirty. Okay. So now we've got context. She says, blank la aspiradora una vez esta semana. So something about the vacuum cleaner once this week. So would you study the vacuum cleaner? Would you make the vacuum cleaner? Okay. Would you say the vacuum cleaner? No, we know that the que hacer, the chore we learned in this unit, was to pasar la aspiradora. So now we're going to use that. So now she wants to ask him what? Have you passed the vacuum cleaner, or have you vacuumed once this week? Okay. Have you vacuumed? So we're going to use the present perfect tense. Does everyone see this? Um, you're not going to use are you vacuuming once. It's have you vacuumed, okay? That is the best tense to use here. So how would you ask somebody, have you vacuumed? Well, first of all, Anna is talking to a friend, okay? So they're going to use the to form, right? So you have to conjugate the verb haber, okay? Have you? So we have us and then uh, past. Okay, we have to use the past participle. So let's take a look. Has pasado la aspiradora una vez esta semana? So we use has because it's the to form. Have you passed? The past participle of pasar is pasado, stem and ending. It's an adverb, pasado. Okay, let's look at the next one. Now Bob responds, estoy ocupado. So I'm busy. Then he says no pude. What does no pude mean? It's from the verb poder. You should all know this. It's the preterite tense. Yo no pude. I couldn't. Okay. And now he says, what are we going to use here? I haven't had time, right? Yo no, I have. So we're going to use the present perfect tense to respond. Okay. So we have to use the verb haber. All right. Yo no. What is the conjugation of haber in the present tense with yo? A. You need to know these. And then I haven't had. What's the past participle of tener? Okay, because we're using the verb tener here. Tenido. Okay. Yo no he tenido tiempo. Now, Ana asks a question. ¿Qué blank en este momento? Okay, is she going to be, what verb does she want? Decir, estudiar, hacer. We already used tener, right? We already used pasar. So what does she ask? What does she want to know here? ¿Qué blank en este momento? What's logical here? It's a good fit. What are you doing at this time? Okay, so we're going to take hacer. And now notice we've switched to what? The present progressive tense. So we have to use the verb estar with the present participle. So, so she's using the to form of estar. So, que estás. And now we want the present participle of hacer. So it's has and then yendo, right? Because it's in the adverb. ¿Qué estás haciendo en este momento? And then Bob will respond, blank con una amiga. Nosotros tenemos un examen difícil de ciencia. So he's going to answer back now with what verb? We only have estudiar and decir. So he says, nosotros tenemos un examen difícil de ciencia. So what do you think is going on here? What would be the verb action? Estudiar. Okay. And so what are you doing right now? And so he's doing it right now. Whenever you're doing an action right at that moment, you're going to again answer back now in the present progressive tense. So he's going to say yo, and now we have to conjugate the verb estar in the present tense, estoy, and then haciendo. So estoy haciendo, I'm sorry, estoy estudiando, excuse me, we use the verb estar, estoy estudiando con una amiga, right? So we answer back in the present progressive tense. Now, you see the logic of this? All right, finally, so he says, estoy estudiando con una amiga. I'm studying with a friend, and then nosotros tenemos un examen difícil de ciencia. We have a difficult science exam, so they're furiously studying away at this. And now Ana tells him or asks him, ¿Por qué no descansas un poco? Why don't you rest a little bit? And what does he answer? We have to use the verb decir now. That's our only verb left. So now he's going to say, yo decir que el examen es muy difícil. So what would be the best tense of the verb here to use? He wants to say, he's going to say what? You're going to use the present perfect tense. I have said, okay, that the exam is very difficult, right? Necesito estudiar mucho. I need to study a lot. I can't rest. No puedo descansar. So he's going to use the present perfect tense. I have said, I've already said, is the way you would respond back. You're going to use the present perfect tense. So yo you have to use the verb haber. And then what is the, um, uh, since we're using the present perfect tense, we have to use the past participle. What's the past participle of decir? Remember, there are some past participles that are irregular, and you need to know these, right? Yo he dicho. Dicho is your irregular past participle. So yo he dicho. So this question is a little bit complicated, but if you break it down, you're going to get a conversation, you're going to get a word bank of verbs. Choose which verb you want to use when you respond back. Okay, you have to, and then you have to choose, well, what tense do I want to put it in? The present progressive with a star and the present participle, or the present perfect tense with haber and the past participle. This question is challenging, but doable, and you're going to have one grammar question like this on your exam. So best of luck.